What happens if you keep getting poor sleep? Most people think one bad night doesn't matter. And in isolation, it probably doesn't. But sleep loss doesn't just make you tired. It changes your brain chemistry within hours. It alters stress hormones. It weakens emotional control. And when it becomes a pattern, the effects compound quietly across months and years. One short night feels manageable. Chronic poor sleep is not. After just one night of restricted sleep, your body shifts into a mild stress state. Cortisol, your primary stress hormone, rises the following evening. Research shows that sleeping only 4 to 5 hours can elevate next-day cortisol levels by up to 30 to 40%. Cortisol doesn't just make you alert, it suppresses immune function, interferes with memory formation, and keeps your nervous system slightly on edge. At the same time, your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and impulse control, becomes less active. Brain imaging studies show that after one night of poor sleep, cognitive performance can drop by roughly 20 to 30%. Memory suffers too. Sleep is when your brain consolidates information from short-term storage into long-term memory. Without enough sleep, retention the next day can decline by around 40%. This is why all-nighters before exams often backfire. You may study longer, but your brain becomes worse at storing and retrieving what you learned. Now imagine this doesn't happen once. Imagine it happens for a week. Sleeping 6 hours or less for several nights in a row begins to disrupt emotional regulation. The amygdala, your brain's threat detection system, becomes more reactive. In sleep-deprived individuals, it can become up to 60% more responsive to negative stimuli. At the same time, communication between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex weakens. In simple terms, emotional reactions get stronger, while your ability to regulate them gets weaker. After a week of poor sleep, people often feel more irritable, more anxious, slower mentally, and less motivated. Reaction times slow. Focus drops. Small problems feel bigger than they are. Your body also becomes less sensitive to insulin, meaning blood sugar regulation starts to worsen even within days. Poor sleep doesn't just affect the brain, it begins to affect the entire metabolic system. Now extend this pattern across a year. Consistently sleeping 6 hours or less per night is associated with measurable long-term changes. Chronic sleep restriction is linked to elevated baseline cortisol, increased inflammation, reduced growth hormone release, and impaired glymphatic clearance, the brain's nightly waste removal system. During deep sleep, cerebrospinal fluid flows more freely through the brain, clearing metabolic waste products, including beta-amyloid proteins. When deep sleep is repeatedly shortened, this process becomes less efficient. Over time, this may contribute to increased risk of neurodegenerative disease. Long-term short sleep has also been associated with higher risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, depression, and weakened immune resilience. Sleep also resets synaptic balance, recalibrating neural connections each night. Without enough of it, neural circuits remain in a state of heightened activity. Over time, this can lead to cognitive fatigue and reduced mental flexibility. After a year of chronic sleep restriction, you may not just feel tired. You may feel persistently wired, emotionally unstable, and mentally dulled. Across decades, the cumulative effects become more significant. Regularly sleeping fewer than 6 hours per night is associated with increased risk of hypertension, coronary heart disease, stroke, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and major depressive disorder. There is also growing evidence linking chronic short sleep to higher risk of neurodegenerative conditions, such as Alzheimer's disease. Sleep is not passive rest. It is active biological maintenance. It regulates hormones, balances neurotransmitters, repairs cellular damage, and recalibrates emotional stability. When sleep is consistently shortened, those systems slowly drift out of balance. One bad night will not ruin your life, but repeated short nights quietly reshape it. Sleep is one of the most powerful biological tools you have, not because it feels productive, but because it restores the systems that make everything else possible. Memory, mood, metabolism, longevity. Protecting your sleep is not indulgent. It is neurological maintenance. If you're interested in how everyday habits reshape your brain over time, subscribe for more science-based what-if videos.